welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the brand new Fortunate Hero Plus channel. Yay, round of applause, yes. Now, for any of you who are new to this channel or don't know anything about me, I do have my main channel, which is The Fortunate Hero, and that will now be primarily focusing on gaming content, while this channel, the Fortunate Hero Plus channel, will be basically anything else like reaction content or I can't speak, IRL content if I ever get to doing any of that. This is just gonna be a side channel. The second channel primarily, I guess, is gonna be reaction content, just, you know, commentary, stuff like that. By the way, before I go on, do sub and like to this channel, sub to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, let's see if we can get to 500 subs at least. Hell, if this channel can get to 1,000, that would be very beautiful. But let's make a small little goal, 500 subs, okay? And also go and check out my main channel. Be nice if that channel can get to 2,000 subs by the end of this year. So please sub and like, please. I'll kiss you, kissy. But besides that, ladies and gentlemen, to celebrate the brand new birth of this channel, we will be reacting to Legendary Drops' video, Games Media Implodes over Dragon Age the Veilguard. Now, obviously, his channel and the video will be in the description. Go check out his channel, sub to his channel, and go and like his video. And when it comes to Dragon Age, I don't know anything about Dragon Age. Dragon Age is one of those games that I just don't know and kind of never have. I'm just not into those type of games, really. I'm not really into them. I've never really cared, but I did know about the game. I've heard of it. And then I've heard about Dragon Age the Veilguard. You know, all this stuff about pronouns and they, thems and whatever. And then I just heard that the game is just not that good, apparently. I have seen the clip of what's that character? The Tosh or Tosh.0. I don't know who that character is. All I've seen is that whole ordeal, and then I've also heard about the story of how you know, of Asmongold and his Reddit. So let's get started. Oh, and also, if you don't know, I don't have a webcam, so the way I do these videos when I'm reacting will be I'll put on like a small little gaming post webcam like this, for example. Editor, do it. Thank you, editor. Love you. Much appreciated. And yeah, anyway, let's watch this video from Legendary Drops, ladies and gentlemen. And one more time, remember to do sub and like. And, you know, let's start the video.
You know what the players love? Censorship, and being told that their opinions are less valuable than that of a moral high-roading journalist.
Oh, we love
Saying
that.
The discourse around Dragon Age the Veilguard is proof positive that their opinions are more truthful and valid than ours. You would think over the last few years, with the direction that games journalism has been heading in, that they would see an industry that is losing its relevance, that's shrinking, that is consolidating and has mass layoffs and outlet closures, and people are just not engaging with your platform the same way that they used to anymore because you're not delivering what they're looking for.
Yeah, news nowadays is really freaking horrible. I remember obviously as a kid, I wasn't into the whole thing of, oh, I need to see what's going on in the news. Let's see what's going on in the news. I wasn't like that. As I started growing older, I immediately started noticing how bad news has become. It's riddled with nothing but biased views. You can't trust anything they say now. It's extremely freaking horrible, and it's really bad, especially now, dude. I have more luck learning something that's in the news by going into YouTube and typing it in and then seeing a YouTuber talk about the situation. You know, it's kind of bad in a way. I mean, is it kind of bad? It's not really though. All I'm saying is, you know, it's kind of weird that you feel more reliable getting good, accurate news sources from Nogle and Terrorizer reacting to current news than watching CNN and all that. You know, it's kind of bad when it's like that. And this is news for anything. Obviously, as the title of the video, this is especially was the games media, news about games, news about movies, news about politics, anything. It's just riddled with bias bullcrap at this point, and that's why I don't read the news or even engage in it. I mean, dude, a good example, there was the freaking Cuphead journalist, or the video game journalist who was playing Cuphead and he couldn't pass the tutorial and he got memed to hell. All I'm saying is, can you be a journalist and not be good at video games? In a way, yes, you can, but at the same time, you have to see it from a gamer's point of view, okay? Why am I gonna trust this person saying that this game is horrible, it's too hard, or this game is amazing, it's super easy, or whatever, when he can't even beat the tutorial? That's like, imagine you being a mechanic and you want to learn some news about cars or whatever, and you're reading an article, and then there's this quote-unquote professional mechanic, and when you're reading it, this guy doesn't know what a transmission is called, and he doesn't know anything about an oil change. Would you, as a mechanic, knowing that this should be like the basic 101s of being a car mechanic or whatever, you would probably be like, yeah, I don't trust this. This is super dumb. A professional, a quote-unquote professional mechanic doesn't even know what an oil change or how to do an oil change and doesn't know what a transmission is. You would be skeptical. I will say that, you know, saying that you're a professional mechanic and not knowing that, obviously it makes sense that you don't want to listen to that or read that article or care about that article. It's kind of different from saying I'm a car mechanic and then a video game article. I guess it's different, but you get what I'm talking about. Are you gonna trust this person when he can't even do the tutorial? Are you gonna trust this quote-unquote professional mechanic if he doesn't know how to do an oil change or what a transmission is? Not really, and you can't blame the people for that.
You're not delivering what they're looking for. But instead of seeing any adaptation, any change, or anything like that, we're seeing them point the finger at you and say, you are the problem. The audience is the issue. And even more so, it's YouTubers. Those damn commentary guys, man. Why can't they keep their mouths shut? All they're doing is just poisoning the industry, poisoning the well around these games. And more importantly, they need to be controlled by these platforms because, you know, censorship is great as long as it aligns with my own personal morals.
I just love the idea of, well, damn, we're losing viewers. Nobody likes us. We're not getting any money. Well, damn it. Well, it's all those YouTubers. They're the ones causing us. What can we do to get our viewership back? How can we get money? Easy. YouTube. We want them censored. Oh, wait, what? You're not going to censor them? I guess we'll write articles about why YouTubers are bad and that you shouldn't be listening to them. You shouldn't tune into their videos. They're the boogeyman of journalism. Ladies and gentlemen, don't listen to them. In my head, I just started thinking of the Uncle Ruckus of don't trust them YouTuber. But I just love it that their grand scheme is, we're not making money. We're not going to take responsibility. I can't even speak. We're not going to take responsibility for what's going on. No accountability at all. We're not going to be responsible. We're not going to even just think about it. We're not going to sit down and go, why are we losing money? Is it because we keep writing horrible articles? No, it must be those YouTubers. Yep, let's go. You also have to remember people are now against looking at reviews from any mainstream media, like things like from IGN or Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes and all that, because I mean, you see it every freaking day. Brand new movie comes out, it's the #1 movie of the world, #1 horror movie of the world. Brand new video game comes out, IGN 10 out of 10, the most sophisticated RPG, most sophisticated freaking game of them all. It's amazing. Oh yeah, it's amazing. And then you check on actual reviews from people. For example, you go to YouTube, you check out how good is this video game, how good was this movie, blah blah blah, the Mulan movie, the IRL Mulan movie, how good was it? And then people are just dogging on it. It's horrible, it's bad. But then if you go to Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, they'll say it's the best. They're not reliable. It's just bad.
The plan failed. The ploy failed. This sanitized approach to game development, reviewing, and video game discourse isn't landing well with audiences. It's not what they're looking for. It's not authentic. And you would think that this is an opportunity to say, oh, everybody's telling me that I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But instead, they're saying it's you.
Yeah,
the expected outcome of Dragon Age the Veilguard is starting to take shape, and it's not looking good. Player ratings continue to drop. The game is now sitting at a 72 on Steam with only a 40% player rating on OpenCritic.
Oh wait, I was gonna say this. I hear all this stuff about, wow, it's horrible. God, it's bad. Damn, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. And then when I went to Steam, I was like, man, this is it. The game's gonna be overwhelmingly negative. The game's actually, I think it was all mostly positive when I checked, and it's still, actually, you know what? Let's check it right now. There it is. Dragon Age the Veilguard, mostly positive, 71%. You would think a lot of people saying, God, the game is horrible. And then you go to Steam and it's just, wow, mostly positive? Wait, what? What's going on here? You have to remember, even a game that can be extremely horrible to one person can be extremely amazing to another person. So all I'm going to say is, I'm guessing there's a lot of people that still enjoy it and there's a lot of people that hate the game. So I guess it's mostly positive. All I know is I saw this and went, damn, that's crazy. All the hate that it's getting and it's still mostly positive. That is weird. Because most games, when you hear negative press and you hear a lot of YouTubers talking crap about it, overwhelmingly negative. Oh, look, perfect example. Look at this. Games Radar, all that. Quest Daily, 9.5. It's just like perfect score. Then you play the game, you go, and it's not that good. You see reviews of the game, you go, damn, that is horrible. It's just bad. Oh, look, IGN.
to take shape, and it's not looking good. Player ratings continue to drop. The game is now sitting at a 72 on Steam with only a 40% player rating on OpenCritic and an abysmal 3.9 on Metacritic. Gamealytics is now estimating that the Veilguard sold an abysmal 3.
What was that? Metascore generally favorable. Who would have guessed it? And then from user scores, horrible.
9 on Metacritic. Gamealytics is now estimating that the Veilguard sold between 310 to 930,000 copies, averaging at around 621,000 copies sold. A clear sign that this game did not land well with audiences. While some people enjoy the game, and I'll admit that the game has some redeeming qualities, that might not be enough to be able to turn a profit or meet EA's expectations. What this means for BioWare or the future of Mass Effect 5, it's hard to say. However, it is worth remembering that EA shut down Ascendant Studios after Immortals of Avium flopped, a game with a lot of writing and themes that bear some resemblance to the Veilguard. Immortals only sold 50,000 copies despite its $125 million budget. If EA invested that heavily into Immortals, we can only imagine what they spent on the Veilguard. This could mean layoffs for BioWare are looming unless EA decides to make Mass Effect the studio's final chance. Now, while the media attempted to feign that this game was a success...
Dude, I just can't with EA as well. It's such a horrible company. Dude, and then I recently found out that the freaking ex-CEO... Brilliant idea, by the way. It's yet again another definitive proof of... Instead of going, let's make a video game that we love and the public will love for the sake of making a video game. And then, obviously, if we make a good game, we'll get profit. Yet again, proof of we don't care about making a good game. How much money can we siphon out of these morons is basically what they were thinking. The ex-CEO, don't know his name, but brilliant idea. One of his ideas was charging people for ammo per bullet in upcoming video games like Battlefield and all that. Brilliant idea. Hold on, hey teammate, can you protect me? I need to put in my credit card info so I can buy an extra magazine for $2. But you know what's so bad? I bet you people would actually have done it. I bet you people would have been playing. Imagine if Battlefield 2042 came out. They put in that whole feature of every bullet costs 1 cent. I bet you there would have been people actually paying to buy magazine or buy digital bullets. At that point, you might as well just go, hey, you know what? I'm gonna uninstall this freaking game. I'm gonna freaking sell my PC. If I want to shoot guns so badly, hell, I'm just gonna go and buy a gun. I say this, but some people can't afford a gun, or depending on where they live, they can't even get a gun. You get my point. you get my point.
Now, while the media attempted to feign that this game was a success, fake it till you make it, I guess, and their positive spin definitely worked initially, now that the game has had some time to simmer and the players don't seem to like it, they have chose to double down and ignore any sense of self-awareness. Dwayne Jenkins of Vice wrote an article titled Dragon Age the Veilguard and the Necessity of Games Journalism. He writes, we're going back into the trenches on this one, so it's no secret. Dragon Age the Veilguard is the latest DEI game to be subjected to criticism with zero bearing on the actual game itself. Because I'm tired and already exhausted myself talking about diversity in games, I'll keep this one brief.
Oh, dude, can I also say, yeah, this whole thing of DEI is honestly, it's getting so out of hand. It is so out of hand. For me, DEI is kind of like a micro version of segregation to white people. That's what it feels like at this point. I'm gonna say it again. Forgot what airline. I think it was Delta or whatever airline, where they put out saying that they want to hire more black pilots. Why do you want to do that? Why hire black pilots? Why not hire better pilots? I just don't understand the logic here. If I was an owner of a freaking factory or a freaking whatever business, I'm not gonna hire this Latino because he's Latino. I'm gonna hire whoever comes at me and says, hey, I have good experience, I'm an amazing leader, I'm amazing this, I know how to do this, I never once showed up late or even called out for my job even though I was sick. I worked my ass off. I also know Spanish, so it helps out because I'm bilingual, blah blah blah. I'm gonna hire that guy over this Latino guy. And if that guy's Latino, cool. If he's white, cool. I don't care. I don't care if you're white, black, Mexican, Latino, Asian. I don't care. Show me that you have the skills. Show me that you're the best fit for this job, and I'll hire you. I don't understand how that's so hard in today's society. I just don't understand it. It's just so confusing. It's just an easier way of just being like, you know what? You're white. Get out of here. What? I don't understand DEI. I really don't.
And already exhausted myself talking about diversity in games, I'll keep this one brief. Now, the irony of saying this from a gaming vertical isn't lost on me. Even if I'm the wrong messenger, I can only hope that the message itself is meaningful enough. Let's imagine a world without video game outlets. No IGN, no Kotaku, no Polygon. They're all just poof, overnight, gone. No more reviews or insights from game journalists. You know what that leaves you with to gauge how good a game is? Censoring on Metacritic has gotten completely out of hand. Not a smart move if you want to stay relevant, aka in business, because of this whole NWO Great Reset woke psyop has failed. Narratives crumbling and everyone not bailing out in time will go down with it. This, in case, if you couldn't tell, is a user review from Metacritic. I want you to really read that review. Let it nestle in your brain for a second. Now, what did you meaningfully glean from that? What information from that excerpt will help you decide whether Veilguard is worth your time? That the game has characters of different ethnicities and that's bad? This brand of criticism extends to YouTube, where content creators aren't bound to any kind of journalistic integrity. Sure, a few YouTubers provide thoughtful feedback on the strengths and weaknesses of a game, but some couldn't care less about worthwhile, relevant, informed discourse. They don't have to talk about the gameplay, visuals, characters, story, pacing, mechanics, or any of the other nuances one looks for in a traditional review of a game. Instead, they can turn a camera on and say the game sucks because it has pronouns in it, or it features too much diversity, or ruined a franchise by introducing any other sexual orientation that isn't straight, or a gender identity that isn't man or woman. This isn't a conversation, a point to it all, just noise.
I kind of do agree with the whole thing of YouTubers can just basically get a camera or just record themselves and say they hate a game because of something very dumb. Like someone can go on YouTube and say that they hate Minecraft. Why do they hate Minecraft? Oh, because they hate the creepers, because it scared them and blew up and it killed him, and that's why Minecraft is a horrible game. 1 out of 10, it's horrible, don't buy it. I kind of understand that. I mean, a good example of that is, what was it, Quantum TV, and the whole mess of him rating what's it called, I was gonna say Dark Souls, Elden Rings, saying that the game was horrible. And then, you know, I don't know if it's confirmed, but apparently his wife leaked out messages of her saying that he never even played the game, or I should say ex-wife, his ex-wife claiming that he never even played the game. Him hating the game is because it's too difficult. It was dumb to say the least. But at the same time, I've seen so much more reliable sources of a game review from these YouTubers. A good example is The Act Man. Sometimes when I look up his reviews of certain games, I'm like, yeah, this is actually good insight of a freaking review, compared to if I go to IGN or all this and they're just giving me corporate bullcrap of the game is amazing, 10 out of 10, super hyped up, amazing.
It's funny though, Dragon Age the Veilguard is getting lambasted for its inclusive elements because it apparently isn't a 10 out of 10 experience. Meanwhile, I don't recall Baldur's Gate 3 getting a whole lot of flack. Oh wait, never mind. I guess I just had a momentary mental lapse. But traditionally, people will excuse all that gross diversity if the quality is high enough. But true to form, that bar is only cleared once perfection is agreed upon. No real-world parallels at all. So they believe that only games journalism can provide reliable and nuanced insights into a game's quality. Notice, and this is something that's really important, it's a wordplay that a lot of journalists like to use to mislead the reader, but notice that they say a few YouTubers provide valuable feedback. Well, they use the word few because they want to magnify the issue to be as big as it possibly is, even though they are the ones that are cherry-picking some of the most inflammatory discourse that's around Dragon Age the Veilguard. See how that works? They're making something seem like it's a bigger issue than it actually is. Imagine a world without IGN, Kotaku, Polygon, and PC Gamer or Eurogamer. Yeah, I can. It would be players that are actually going off of the opinions of other players, people that are actually playing the game that likely have the same kind of perspective or taste that they do. It's one of the reasons why YouTube and Twitch content has blown up over the years, is because they're much easier to be able to find somebody that you can align your tastes with and have similar opinions on things with and see whether or not you're going to enjoy that game or not. Mm-hmm. That's probably one of the biggest issues in games journalism today, is the fact that the perspective and opinions and beliefs that are held by those in media are not shared by those that are the audience. And as such, it's leading to a conflict. Exactly what I said. IGN and all this saying that one game is super good and it's the best. And then you look at some other content creators out there on YouTube, they say, I don't know what the hell IGN is talking about. That game is horrible. For me, it's kind of already been like that, where if a new game comes out, I'll just quickly go on YouTube and then
you know, hear how the freaking YouTuber is describing the game and all that. And depending on how good the review is, I'll just be like, okay, this is cool. All right, I'll check another review from another YouTuber, get more insight of it. Because at this point, like I said, going to IGN, going to Kotaku and all this, it's just no. There's sometimes where you feel like the review is just completely biased and it's just bad sometimes. So
we don't see eye to eye anymore, and because of that, they don't want to pay attention to you for your opinions. They feel that a lot of these folks on YouTube and Twitch are a lot more genuine and less compromised, and in fact, they are less compromised. I mean, the writer themselves says they're going into the trenches. They view this as a battle line, like they're going into war. They view this as a war that they're in. They even go as far as saying, even if I'm not the right messenger, I just hope that the message is meaningful enough. Well, that's the problem. How do you lack the self-awareness to realize that you're magnifying an issue that's not even there to begin with? And really what it is at the end of the day, you're not good at delivering whatever your message is, or, I don't know, maybe the players aren't bigots. Maybe they just might be tired of hearing the same message.
Oh, it's almost like we have a brain. Honestly, it is true. The amount of messages, like you can go to IGN, Kotaku, and you can go all of these freaking places that review games or whatever, and it just sounds like the same crap. Versus when you go to YouTube, you can go to 3 different reviewers and they'll all talk about something relative. They'll be talking about relatively the same thing, but for the most part, you can kind of get a different gist of how a game is by checking them out.
Now, I want you guys to keep in mind that players and YouTubers are the ones that are creating this toxic echo chamber. Games journalism is the most important, insightful, and truthful, as Nathan Grayson of Aftermath writes an article titled "The Dragon Age Review Controversy Shows Just How Much YouTube and Twitter Have Poisoned Video Game Discourse. The more you enable these people structurally, systematically, the more footing they gain until they become the default." Quoting the discussions from their podcast, Nathan writes, "These days, when a big new game comes out, you can pretty much roll the dice on what kind of reactionary controversy it will produce. Are we looking at a moral panic over trans characters, diversity consulting, games journalists being too positive, games journalists being too negative, some other quibble that'll be forgotten in a week, interchangeably swapped out like grains of sand dragged away by the unrelenting tide? Anyway, the usual suspects got mad about Dragon Age the Veilguard reviews this week. You can listen to this week's episode of Aftermath Hours for a full rundown on why, but the whole thing is illustrative of a larger, more important issue. Thanks to algorithmic prioritization on sites like YouTube and Twitter, this is how a growing number of people engage with video games. Plenty of people still manage to tune out the hours-long rants and conspiracy theories, but at what point does this rancid flavor of brain rot go from vocal niche to a borderline mainstream position? And what are the long-term consequences of that? I guess my doomer-pilled concern about all of this is that as the American Fascist Project continues to grow in power and all of these platforms facilitate these ways of talking, conspiratorial thinking, and whatnot, do we reach a point where this becomes the default? Because I would say right now, this is not the way most normal people talk about games or engage with them. A lot of people, as we've seen based on Dragon Age's Steam numbers right now, saw the game, thought it looked cool, bought it, and are now playing it.
See, being a gamer, when I'm looking at a review for a game, and I feel like this is probably for a lot of people as well, when we hear things automatically go from, oh hey, let's look at this review of this game, and then suddenly you hear identity politics, DEI come in, or wokeness, or doomer pilled, fascist project in America, and all this, your mind already kind of goes, yeah, I'm off. I'm gonna get off of this article. It just feels like a propaganda article more than, hey, here's a review of the game. you instead of getting the game is bad because the story is pretty flat, the graphics aren't that good, the shooting mechanic is bad, looting is bad in this game. Instead of that, most of the times we'll read it, and every once in a while we'll get an article saying, oh, this DEI, it's why is there only white people in this game, blah blah blah. Oh, this game is bad for women, blah blah blah. It just shuts you off. And I also love the statement right here. A lot of people, as we've seen, even based on Dragon Age Steam numbers right now, saw this game, thought it looked cool, bought it, and now they're playing it. That statement makes it sound like the game is good, or at least he's trying to make it sound like that, but it doesn't matter. Actually, because I think I saw this comment from a review in Steam, I believe, that basically said that the story is flat compared to other Dragon Age games. So the only thing that comes to my mind is maybe the veterans don't like most veterans don't like this game because it's such a bad sequel to the previous freaking Dragon Age games. So then my other thought process is, so maybe the people that are enjoying the game and playing it are maybe newcomers, new players that don't know anything about Dragon Age, saw this game, decided to give it a try, and are playing it, and they go, yeah, the game's good, yeah, it's okay, it's good. When in fact that I'm pretty sure maybe if they play the other Dragon Age games, they may actually go, oh wait, this is actually nowhere near as good. Maybe, I don't know. I've never played Dragon Age, so I don't know, but if you've ever played Dragon Age, let me know if this is right. If you think that this is a bad sequel, if it even is a sequel or whatever. I just realized as well, if you look at Asmongold's most viewed video about all of this, it has around 1 million views. 1 million sounds like a lot, but this game will probably be bought by north of 10 million. Brother, you must be high. If you just look back at the video, I forgot what source he showed, but it said that it wasn't even, it was close, barely close to 1 mil copies sold. Where the hell are you getting 10 million? Either I'm high or he's high.
If you look at Asmongold's most viewed video on all of this, it has around 1 million views. 1 million sounds like a lot, but this game will probably be bought by north of 10 million people, so it's a fraction. And even then, a lot of people who watched that video were probably never going to buy the game anyway. So it's not negligible, exactly, but it's still a niche. But as these things continue to have relatively convenient on-ramps, like searching Dragon Age on YouTube and getting pulled down this rabbit hole, do we reach a point where this is the prominent mode of discussion around games? Inmates taking over the asylum or whatever. Is that where we're headed? Because we've seen this in American politics. The more you enable these people structurally or systematically, the more footing they gain until they become the default. This one is not drinking the Kool-Aid, they drank the entire cooler. I need to stop you right there. One of the things that I frequently see is journalists or those whose content isn't that popular online criticize the algorithm. They believe it is a system that is promoting these opinions that they disagree with and ultimately are suppressing their own. That system is an issue and it's only fascist because it's not promoting their ideas or their opinions.
I get to say whatever I want. And if some other place is promoting something that I'm not promoting, I hate it. I despise it. I want it gone. That's something that should be normal in society, having a discourse, having different opinions. We shouldn't be freaking trying to force this freaking, you have to believe me or you're a bigot. It shouldn't be like that.
YouTube and content creators in general are supported by their audience, not the algorithm. The algorithm simply feeds you things you might be interested in, and it's up to you to engage with it. If my content, or Asmongold's for that matter, wasn't supported by an audience who resonates with our opinions or our discussions, then it wouldn't be seen. If it wasn't the most popular opinion that was held, then it wouldn't swallow the opposing opinion in the algorithm, and those videos would be served above ours. Content creators and YouTube don't create a bias, they confirm it. Going on to talk about identity politics in games and saying that it's not the normal way people talk about games, well, bud, we're not getting normal games. We're getting divisive games firmly cemented in social and identity politics, and you can't be surprised when those games find themselves in the middle of social political discourse. It's the very reason that you put something like that into a game in the first place. By its very nature, it is subversive. When they say the more you enable these people structurally or systematically, the more footing they gain by a default, again, the lack of self-awareness when you're saying that your subversive messaging is more important than these people, referencing those who they disagree with. What this actually reads as, we shouldn't platform these people because I disagree with them and my beliefs and opinions are the right ones. You know, from my perspective, all this is the high school nerd that's jealous of the high school quarterback and them being more popular than them. If it was only the other way around, everybody would totally respect me, but they just don't understand. This is literally just nothing but bitterness over the fact that people are going elsewhere for their opinions.
You're not giving me attention,
because it's not
please.
Traditional media anymore. That's not what people
it.
are interested in. Instead, what they want to do is they want to look to people that they can relate to, people that they feel like their tastes and their opinions and their perspectives align with, because, well, they're more likely to steer them in the right direction. They don't feel like these people are compromised, and more times than not, they're not. They are literally just a guy like me with the microphone just saying what their opinions are and leaving that out into the ether for other people to pick up.
And surprisingly, they have a better opinion on a video game than most journalists now. Case in point, like I said before, you have a journalist who can't even beat the freaking intro for Cuphead versus a YouTuber who's going off about how the game is amazing but extremely difficult, or the game's just amazing in general, and they can actually beat the entire game, not just the intro. You might look at that and go, well, who am I gonna kind of listen to more at that point?
Just saying what their opinions are and leaving that out into the ether for other people to pick up. If they resonate with it, they do. If they don't, they don't. It's not that big of a deal. But, you know, if you go back and you look at any of the videos that I make on these kind of topics, for the most part, I do try to stick to just the merits of the game because that's what I want to judge these games on. But the problem is it's games media as well as these games developers that are forcing these themes and different things into their games that are meant for discussion, and that's why they're being discussed. It ends up being a pain point as to why some of these players
put things
are not
that are for
engaging with these.
Honestly, yeah, I just realized that you put a bunch of heavily controversial things in a game, and then you get annoyed when they get picked up, and then a conversation happens online. It's the same thing with the freaking Disney. There are people, a lot of people are tired of Disney, and they just want them to focus on making good stories. Back then, Disney movies had at least a decent positive like message for kids to understand. And then now it's just, instead of doing that, it's more of just here's identity politics. A lot of people are getting tired of it. So what do you expect about putting that in a video game? There's going to be conversation, and then for you to get angry about that, it doesn't make any sense.
It ends up being a pain point as to why some of these players are not engaging with these games and not wanting to buy them. But the problem that we keep running into is that when we try to have this kind of conversation, well, they just want to cherry pick some of the most outrageous and inflammatory remarks that are out there and use that as a way to minimize any critical discourse around any of these games every single time.
100 good reviews, and then there's one bad review or something like that. They cherry pick that one bad review, and then they'll inflate it. It's the same thing as what we see every day. One cop does one bad thing, and because of that one cop, all cops are bad. One cop does one racist thing, well, guess what? All cops are racist. It's stupid.
Every single time. Literally every single time. The American Fascist Project, and you're calling us the conspiratorial ones. Sorry that the system isn't working in your favor. Maybe it will next time. The idea that a video with 1 million views is somehow not reflective of how an audience received a game is just mind-blowing to me. Especially when you're only looking at one video. If you go and you look at Dragon Age the Veilguard across all of YouTube, you could accumulate probably 100 million views if you wanted to, of people being critical about the game, and you somehow don't think that's reflective of how the audience received the game? What sense does that even make? You can even go as far and believe that you think the game sold 10 million or will sell 10 million, 10 million copies? I can't even say it out loud. It's too funny. What are you basing that off of? The original estimates we're seeing right now are definitely not 10 million. You know, we could actually take this a step further. That video that they're referencing for Asmongold, I think it has like 1.5 million views or something like that. That video has more views than the sales of Dragon Age the Veilguard, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, Concord, and Immortals of Avium combined. But you know, it's just the minority.
Yep.
Fraction. The writer continues the podcast transcript saying, I think an important thing to remember is we work in video games, and we work directly with people that know as much about video games as possible and as much about the video game media ecosystem as possible. The people that follow us on social media, all they do is...
That doesn't matter. That sentence is just to make you feel reassured that what they're saying is absolute, and that you need to keep listening or reading or whatever for their podcast or their freaking publication. It doesn't matter how good you are just because you work in that industry for a long time. Sure, it helps, you have experience, but it doesn't freaking matter. If you keep saying dumb shit, then it's dumb shit. I don't know how to translate that for you, buddy. That whole sentence was just for people to go, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I forgot that they work in video games. I feel reassured. I'm gonna read Kotaku now. That's basically what that whole sentence was. It's just to reassure people.
The people that follow us on social media, all they do is talk about video games all day. Our peers and colleagues and former colleagues. That's all we talk about. As a sample of the video game playing public, we are a tiny fraction of people. All my IRL friends will talk to me about is a Call of Duty game once a year. Everyone I play football with will talk about EA Sports FC once or twice a year to complain about it. They don't play Dragon Age. They don't know what it is. They barely know what Fortnite is. It's the same for everything. It's music, it's movies. People don't consume media about these things constantly on a daily basis. It's easy for us to lose track of that because we think everybody does, but everybody around us does. But my experience with this stuff, because I make it my point to know as many people outside of games as possible to avoid a broken husk of a person, is that it's really important to get that perspective. It's fucking video games. No one cares. Play a game you like or don't. You don't need to go online and talk about it for 18 hours a day or whatever.
What?
So people like Asmongold are out there making these videos, but like Nathan said, what's a video like that going to top out at? 1 million worldwide among English-speaking people? That's not shit. Nathan responds, right. There are well over 300 million pieces of video like that going like Asmongold are out there making line and talk games. No one cares.
I want to see this again. No one cares. Play a game you like or don't. You don't need to go online and talk about it for 18 hours a day or whatever. Call me crazy, but isn't this the exact same thing they're doing? Don't go online and talk about it for 18 hours. Is that not what these people at Aftermath and Kotaku and all these other places do as well? Am I missing something?
Luke responds, right. And that doesn't include the English-speaking people in Europe or the rest of the Anglosphere. I don't think it's something to be worried about as a discourse-shaping trend. It's more of a bummer for that type of content on that type of medium. It's going to go on its own journey, and during that time, people are going to be put off it. People might stop watching that kind of content and look somewhere else. They might look on TikTok or on blogs like the Aftermath.site. It's not a given that every 13-year-old boy watching an Asmongold video is going to turn into someone who thinks like that. Most people are relatively normal, and there's a point where once people with a certain kind of hateful or twisted or conspiratorial view start to get oxygen and get enabled, their views become increasingly bizarre to a normal person. People aren't so easily brainwashed that they'll just go along with all that. Obviously, the political situation in the United States shows that lots of people can if they're subjected to it long and hard enough. But on a global basis, on a normal person basis, a lot of people will eventually be like, I think this guy's fucking weird. Who cares, it's Dragon Age, or not everything has to be a conspiracy and a political gesture. I'm more optimistic than other people are with this stuff, but it's more of a YouTube problem than a societal problem. They need to sort that out. Nathan responds, true, but in addition, it's a Twitter problem, it's a Facebook problem. With Asmongold, it's a Twitch problem. It is, to some extent, a TikTok problem. My God, nothing says I'm right like the call for censorship. Believing that these platforms need to handle YouTube's commentary people like Asmongold, myself, or anyone else.
What in the hell? Oh my. It's everybody else's fault, not our fault. Silence them. I'm kind of glad that when I grew up, I didn't meet that many people like this. Yeah, I feel like this is an issue that started rising up during COVID. There's no accountability. There's no responsibility between these people.
It is disgusting to hear someone want to put the control of freedom of speech into the hands of publicly traded platforms. They have more power than they already need, and you would blindly trust them as long as they are propagating the opinions and messages that you feel comfortable with. And this is all based on the fact that they are conflating criticism with hate or conspiracy. The meme that everything is fascist as long as it doesn't agree with me is strong with this one. I am sick and tired of this notion that there is a silent majority that is not talking about or doesn't care about these topics, and they're not engaging with these sort of conversations. That you somehow need to be the person that's talking about these things 18 hours a day to actually care about them. It's nothing more than convenient platitudes, painting a picture that specific voices and concerns don't matter, or that the general public doesn't care about forced messaging or the quality of their products. From my perspective, when people use the term silent majority, it's meant to make you feel like you have no real control, and what you want has no real impact, which couldn't be further from the truth. Oh God, it's so vain. It's so unbelievably vain. Believing that these games journalists, as well as games insiders, need to be the ones that are shaping the conversation around games. That these uninformed voices, these peasants, more than anything else, get off of me. Don't try to clean my shoe. Yeah. God, no. They're the ones, ironically, that are actually interfacing with this media. They're the ones that are interfacing with these products. These games are made for them in the first place. And that's the problem. It's the fact that you believe that you need to be the ones that are shaping the conversation around games. You believe that your ideas, your opinions are more valuable than anyone else's, to the point that you're even calling for censorship. Pathetic.
That you're the only one that can have a freaking say in it.
And let's be real. I know that the vast majority of these companies don't give a shit about any of these social issues.
Companies really don't freaking care about where their freaking marketing goes. The one thing I always thought was funny was, imagine if there's like a freaking terrorist propaganda video or something. Before the video starts, suddenly it's just Chevron, get clean gas. These companies don't really care. The only time they care is when people start calling out or start saying that they want to boycott said company because their marketing was for this person who did something controversial, or because their advertisement was very controversial, or whatever. They don't really care. I mean, beautiful example, what's going on with Twitch right now. The whole panel of the freaking guys doing the whole rate people who are Jewish and whatever. That whole panel, it just had Chevron in the back and had Intel or all this stuff. Nothing happened. They didn't care. It was only then when people started emailing those companies and their marketing, their global, the leader for their marketing or whatever, saying, hey, you're sponsoring this and look at what you're sponsoring. Then suddenly now they're pulling back their advertisement and they're going, no, we don't care about that. If nobody said anything, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have done anything. They just would have left it.
Likely these people don't even care about it either. It's vanity more than it is anything else. It's soft people living soft lives and looking for anything to be able to attach themselves to so they can look in the mirror and think that they've done something constructive today. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. You know what they fail to realize is that people don't watch these videos because they want to be told what to think. They're watching them because they have their own opinions, their own thoughts, and they're looking to have them either validated or challenged in a meaningful way. A video like this goes out and it resonates with some people and they like it. And if they like it, then it gets viewed and then more people view it and then the cycle continues. What you fail to realize is that the content is serving the audience. The content creators are serving the audience. The platform is serving the audience, not the other way around. And that's one of the reasons why people have gotten so disillusioned with the video game industry, with games media, with different video games that have come out over the last few years, or with the government, or with regular legacy media, or anything like that. It's because they forgot how that dynamic works. The audience, the customer, always comes first. And the minute that you stand up and start to say that voices need to be controlled because you're afraid of what the outcome might be, because you disagree with those positions, because you think that you are the moral authority, that's a problem. And it's no wonder that nobody pays attention to you. This video will likely get more views than your podcast.
Yep.
I hope you guys enjoyed today's discussion. If you guys did, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. And more importantly, I'm going to go and I'm going to play some Stalker. Actually, I'm going to play
Warframe probably.
I'm so excited for that. It's not even funny. But anyway, I'll check you guys later. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. Peace.
Family.
Who would have guessed it? Game media is angry. They're not popular. Their feelings are hurt. So what do they have to resort to? It's those YouTubers' fault. Blame the YouTubers. They're ruining everything. Instead of taking accountability and realizing, you know what? Maybe we should stop being idiots. No, it's all YouTubers' fault. It's all them. Wow. It's just funny. Who would have guessed it? Other gamers who play video games and love video games so much are probably better to review a game than people who say that they work in the whole gaming sphere. Who would have guessed it? That's like me saying, oh, Razer? Yeah, Razer are the best freaking keyboards and best mouses in the whole freaking gaming world. Why? Because it's made by gamers. Oh, it doesn't matter. Razer does some good keyboards. Sometimes they do horrible keyboards. Sometimes they do good mouses. Sometimes they do bad mouses. That's just how it is. That's the company. And guess who's better at reviewing those things? Gamers themselves. People who are into tech. That's why usually when I need to do a review on a gaming product, gaming mouse or something like that, or a video game, I go to YouTube, because most of the time the gamers are the ones who are doing those reviews, and you'll get some decent good review. That was a good video. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, go and check out Legendary Drops in the description. Go check him out, sub to his channel, check out his video and like it. Anyway, yeah, that was it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, sub, like, and peace.